Hello, Steve White, Trekboy89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, we just saw the 6th episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and although it was, for the most part, universally considered a Star Trek-like episode, I had one big issue. It was more of a production issue, and the production issue isn't just in this episode, but it was really highlighted in this episode for two reasons. One is the bridge. They reused the bridge from the Enterprise for the Farragut and did practically nothing to it. Now, in the past, they've done little things like change the colour of the doors, because unlike this little model that I made, for some reason I never painted the orange parts on it because I never really liked them. I kept it sort of more like Pike's bridge, which was monochrome, but for some reason they put orange doors on Pike's Enterprise and stuff like that, and those highlights which weren't in the KGRS, so they could have avoided that, and that could have been a change they made at the end of the show when Kirk takes over the ship. But for some reason they did that, but I'm okay. But like in Wrath of Khan, they used the same bridge set that was made for the motion picture, and was used for Kirk's bridge, of course, in the rest of the movie, and they changed the colour of the doors at least, and slightly the configuration, so you could tell which set you're on. I mean, it helped that there were a bunch of strippers in, raggedy clothing to help, but, they didn't do that with this. And it just came across as really cheap. Like, we didn't even have the money to alter the set to differentiate the two ships, which are actually a different class, so they shouldn't have probably been identical anyway. So there was that. And the other issue is the engineering. We haven't seen engineering all season. Now, they built this new science lab, and they kept talking about the science lab and promoting, we've got this new set. I'm like, you build a set? Well, whoop-de-doo. It's like you're spending like $10 million an episode and you built one new set for the whole series? Okay. And they really, really must have spent some money on it and maybe thrown out the engineering set, because when they should be in engineering, they're in the science lab. And every episode is in the science lab. It's like, I think they might have trashed the other set because they were too cheap to keep both up. And I'm like, surely that can't be possible. But why? Now, someone pointed out in the last episode they were using the volume for a planet, so maybe they couldn't use it for the engineering. Maybe it was too much to set up two things in one episode. Well, they weren't using the volume in this episode for anything else, so they could have had engineering, and we should have had at least one of the ships in engineering. So that was a huge issue, and it just looks cheap. And like I said, I think it speaks to the overall series that basically the producers and Kurtzman and Secret Hideout are basically pocketing most of the money they're being paid to make this show, and we're not seeing it on screen. It's going to the 23 producers and everyone else, and we should have had a second set, or at least a redress of the main set, and we should have more than one alternative set, like engineering and a science lab and the bridge. It's just seems really cheap. It seems like they can only afford to have like one soundstage full of sets, and if they tear something down, they build something, they have to tear something down. Or once they tear something down, why would you tear the engineering set down if you've got 3 more seasons of a show that you're going to use it on? And why would you pack it away and not use it when you need to? It doesn't make any sense. And like I said, it just comes across really cheap, and just maddening, because Wrath of Khan had a very small budget. They were made by the TV wing, and they still managed to reconfigure the set and do some repainting. Literally they painted some doors. How hard would it have been to paint, a different colour on, the doors and the whatever parts are like orange on that set to just distinguish the Farragut from the Enterprise? And what would have been even better, annoyingly, if they had made the original bridge like it should have looked in Pike's era, more monochrome and metallic and silver and blue. They could have had to differentiate the Farragut. That could have had the orange and the red and all that, and then that, like I said, is something Kirk changes when he takes over the ship superficially to make it his, and that could have been something they showed in the show and in the start of the first season to say, hey, we've changed, we're into the 5th year now of the 5-year mission now. This is Kirk's ship. So the fact no one didn't, they didn't think far enough ahead to do something like that, and they did the wrong thing by making the orange accents on Pike's ship in the wrong era. See, these are the sort of little things that don't work, annoy Star Trek fans, and ruin things that could have been really good. Like that change, that superficial change, could have been something that really, or subtly, highlighted the change in command and the era and everything. And instead, it's just a mess. But I'm going to go and ponder actually finishing this. I'm going to get the new one because they did reissue this with the other 3 sections here included, and more crew members. And I always was going to get 2 and finish this, but do I just get the other one now? Then this will still be incomplete. I don't know, but I'm going to go work that out. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the lack of bridges in this episode, and a lack of an engineering in the whole season.